All right, taking a look here at Nathan Heath. Um, Nathan, this is Adrian Gonzalez here on the left. Again, real quickly, Nathan, when I break down a swing, I look at three main areas: back leg, back arm, and the front side. Which again, that front side is that strong wall that we're trying to hit behind there on that front side. Okay, so we really want to establish a strong wall to hit behind. Okay, that front side really includes everything, on that front half of the body from the head all the way down to the foot. So let's start with the back leg. Again, looking at Adrian, the back leg has two primary goals or functions. It has to load and then laterally or sideways unload in the direction of our target, which is the ball. Okay, if we look at Adrian, the reason you stride, when you pick up your foot, it loads the back leg and it puts it in a position to laterally or sideways unload. That's the reason we step. And so obviously when Adrian's foot is in the air, the back leg is loaded, and then as it unloads, it puts the front foot down. Okay, so it's just a simple load and lateral unload. So we're taking a look here at Nathan, and again, on the loading part, that back leg should load right before the release of the ball. Okay, so there's a negative or a loading right before release of the ball. It looks like Nathan has really good rhythm with that. And then the lateral unload, which puts the foot down, that completes when that ball is about halfway home. Okay, so the back leg is loaded before release, and the lateral unload happens when the ball, again, or it finishes when that ball is about halfway home. Nathan has good rhythm with his footwork. It's one fluid movement. There's a negative and a positive. There's a load and a lateral unload. He gets off of the backside. He's not forcing spin. Now the foot does come up higher and probably drags forward more than we want, but that's more a cause or a function of the front side. So we're going to work on that front side here in a second. But the overall functioning of the back leg is pretty good. Okay, he's got rhythm. It's happening at what appears to be the right time. He's loading and he's unloading. He's not forcing spin with the leg. Okay, moving to the front side, which again is that wall on the front side. And again, for me, we just split the body in half, and really includes everything from the head, including the eyes, front shoulder, front leg. We've got to establish a strong base on that front side to hit behind. And this really is Nathan's biggest area of improvement. Okay, we'll start with the foot, and we really want that leg to land where the feet, feet are still pointing straight ahead. Front foot has it opened up, and the front leg lands bent, but the leg is firm. Okay, so let's just start with Nathan's foot and then work our way up. You can see it opens up, toe opens up a bit, but that's actually probably closed. That would be acceptable. The biggest issue there with where the foot is going, and again, the foot's controlled by the leg, obviously, but the foot is going too far out. Okay, that foot doesn't need to be bailing out and stepping out. Okay, so the direction, in the sense that foot is moving this way, is not good. Okay, so we really want, and Adrian starts with a little bit more of an open stance, but when he lands, those feet are even here. Okay, he doesn't wind up with a foot that's way offset and way off center. Okay, so that's got to be corrected. The knee does land bent, and it looks pretty firm. Okay, now at this point, once that heel drops, that front leg's got to help us stabilize, and again, that works with the torso as well. And we shouldn't have any more drifting or movement of the center of gravity at this point. Once that heel comes down, once that back leg has finished, the back leg, again, very simple, just a load and sideways unload. But once that heel drops, the front leg and the torso obviously should stabilize the center of gravity, and the head should not drift forward. Okay, And you see how much drift we're getting out front with Nathan. Okay, and it continues through even after contact. He's still drifting. Again, as you watch Adrian, his back leg drives, and his back leg is unweighted. It's unweighted about here. Okay, so both of them are unweighted with the back side. Okay, both of them are unweighted with the back foot through contact. So that's where we want to be. But the difference is, and really the dichotomy of hitting is, we want to be off the back, but we want to hit behind the front. Okay. And so you can really see how Nathan has allowed, his head and upper to kind of drift out front and kind of break down this wall we've tried to establish here on the front side. He's kind of broken through that. So usually the case when you see this much drifting is really kind of led by the head. An attempt to see the ball, to go get the ball, and we kind of lead with the head out front, and the body's going to follow where the head wants to go, and Nathan wants to bring his head to the ball, and so the head continues forward, the body gets into this position. Okay, what we want to do is we want to still drive with that back leg. Okay, we want to drive with that back leg, but we want to establish this strong front side where knee stays behind foot, hip stays behind knee, shoulder stays behind hip, and the head stays behind everything else. And so really with the torso, we want to have this tilt more than a turn or a lean forward. So we really want to tilt the torso. We don't want to bring the head to the ball. We want to keep the head back behind the baseball. Okay, we want to be here. The head should stay back. We see the ball. We see the ball here. We see it out front. Okay, but our head stays back to hit it. Another thing that's going on here that's very common with youth hitters is they try to involve the upper body, really the arms, too soon, and that kind of brings the torso around. And so instead of kind of letting his legs work and hitting behind the front side, he tries to involve the upper too much, and that's going to contribute to drifting and getting the arms out front and getting the whole body out front. Okay, so we've really got to go to work and get a posture of staying behind the ball and get away from that. Okay, and that's why I think the back leg contribution is fine. We just got to have a stronger wall here, primarily with the torso staying behind that front side. As you look at Adrian here, that tilting action that keeps the head back is really happening at the hip. So the hip is going to move forward a bit, and then the muscles that move the spine are going to position the torso back here, and that's going to put us in this nice leverage position where we're off the back and behind the front. Okay, and all of the swings are like this, and I'll run through them all. This wasn't just one swing. We'll see multiple swings just like that. Okay, taking a look at the third and final area that we focus on, which is the back arm, which I refer to as the throwing arm. And what we're really trying to develop here is the perfect throwing pattern out of that back arm. Okay, if you take a look at Adrian, the way the highest level pattern begins is by the back arm, which is really this long bone in the upper arm here, lifting and kind of winding up. It's turning in and winding up. Okay, it's kind of like an infielder taking the ball out of a glove. Okay, so if you see that elbow kind of lifting and winding up, elbow stays very bent. Then now that bone is going to work to the ball. The elbow stays very bent. Okay, as it works in. So again, the humerus works up, and then the humerus works here, just like an infielder throwing a ball across the infield. Now at this point, that top arm will whip out, finish the throw of the barrel behind the ball. Okay, and then immediately after contact, within a few frames, the top hand throws over the bottom, and both arms are in this extended position. Okay, so again, look at the throwing arm. Adrian's throwing arm there. Elbow works up, elbow works to the ball, and then that top arm throws out or whips out behind the ball, then top hand gets over bottom. Alright, so let's take a look here at Nathan's back arm path. And really, he kind of starts in a unorthodox spot. Adrian kind of starts back there too a little bit. As we just kind of play it through, a lot of people would say, that's way too much hand drop, but I really do see this as an effective way to kind of load this back arm. The elbow is lifting, and what's more important is that long bone in the upper arm is turning in. It's binding up. So that's not really how I would ever teach it to get quite that much hand drop. Barry Bonds had a lot of hand drop like that. But I do see some rhythm in the way the arms working to kind of begin a throwing pattern there. Okay, so maybe able to work with that to a certain degree, and maybe able to fine tune it a little bit. But his barrel really never stops moving. There's good rhythm to it, and it's fluid. It's not a static move. Okay, so again, just focusing on what the arm is doing, you can kind of see. If you started about right here, you can see how the barrel never stops moving, and that's really what you see out of some of your better hitters is a barrel that continues to be fluid. Okay, again, I know he's way out front here, but that barrel is moving pretty good. So again, we want to start. Really the first part is that bone kind of turning in, and we get that. Now what we've got to have is that the elbow is going to slot to the ball. The elbow is going to work into the ball just like this. And your best hitters are able to maintain a position where the bat stays above the hands. And that's really obviously controlled by what's holding the bat, and that's the top hand, which is still facing here. Nathan, when his elbow works in, you can see that the palm is going here, and the bat is following the path of the hand, and it's back here. So we need to, what I like to say is, you can move your elbow, but not the hand, and so we really want to try to keep that palm taller there. Now, I'm not going to get into the minute details of it, but the more we can maintain this type of body position, this tilted position, the more stacked or taller the bat can remain. In other words, the more we're out here, the sooner we have to get on plane, or the sooner we have to flatten the bat. Okay. So long story short, I think improving the tilt on the front side is going to help with the bat position. Okay. So again, as that elbow slots in, we want that palm still facing the pitcher. Okay. Let's see how the throw finishes. It's thrown out here. As you look at Adrian here, we'll see how the hands finish. It works like whip effect, and really this lead arm and really the torso comes to an immediate halt, right before contact, right near contact, and you see how that lead arm stays in the same position. His hands have turned over, but that arm isn't really traveling much. So we're here, the arm is slowed down, okay. And then it basically stays right there in the same spot while the hands turn over. You can see the lead arm here. Okay, and again, you can back it up, and it really hasn't traveled much. Whereas what Nathan's doing, he's trying to kind of, with that left arm, kind of pull the bat, and instead of snapping the hands, which is what we want here, he's kind of pulling the bat in a circle. So again, if you look at Adrian, the lead arm stops, and really those hands finish the swing. Whereas Nathan's kind of pulling the bat in a circle. What's the fix there? You want to let the player, hit it with his hands, not with his arms. We really want to feel those hands finish right after contact. Okay? So we get contact here. Within about 3 or 4 frames, we should be to this position where the hands have come over, and you can see his hands haven't finished there. Okay? So there's good rhythm with the throwing arm. The barrel is loose. Again, the palm goes upward too soon. Part of that's due to the tilt, and then that hand doesn't finish soon enough. And by finish, I mean really turn over the top soon enough. Okay, we'll go ahead and play some of these swings through. Again, Nathan, very physically strong player. Good hand, good athlete. Real good athlete, physically strong. Just want to play this through just to show we're seeing this drifting. On all the swings, getting out in front in this kind of forward body position. But again, he's still successful. As a 12-year-old against top level competition, putting bat on the ball and usually hitting it pretty hard. So some of that's because he's so strong. Okay, and again, you can see him forward there, that one in full speed.